Cruise news time. Well, we just had a naming ceremony that involved an axe and an aquanaut. I kid you not. And if it was a flower story, I'd talk about forget-me-not. Also, Wall Street is warming up to one of the cruise stocks. And while there's a passenger on Carnival speaking out after they felt like they were mistreated, embarrassed, busted for having the wacky tobacco on board. Were they treated poorly? Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face. It is the 11th of January, 2023, and I am here on the MS Nordam, still on the Tasman Sea. I'm making my way from New Zealand to Sydney, Australia. I've got one more sea day ahead of me tomorrow before I disembark the next day on the 14th of January, and then eventually, on the 15th of January, I will be flying back to the United States. It's been a good trip. 18 days by the time I get back home, and I'm looking forward to spending one more day in Sydney and looking forward to getting back home. But let's talk some cruise news. Cruise news story number one, we have a naming ceremony for a brand new Viking cruise ship. Viking Ocean has named her latest ship the Viking Neptune. And of course, interestingly, Neptune is the name of one of the planets in our solar system, and Neptune is also the name for the god of the sea. So they had to find a godmother who could be both out of this world and under the water at the same time. And well, they found it in a woman named Nicole Stott. Check this out. Nicole Stott is both a NASA astronaut and a NASA aquanaut. Try to say that quickly. NASA astronaut and NASA aquanaut. She spent well over 100 days in space at the International Space Station, and she spent close to 20 days, 18 days at the Aquarius Undersea Habitat. That is an undersea laboratory, 62 feet under the water, 2.5 miles off the coast of Florida near the Florida Keys. The naming ceremony took place on January the 8th in Los Angeles, and of course on hand was a dude dressed as Neptune. Why would there not be a dude dressed as Neptune wielding a broadaxe that was used in the naming ceremony of the previous ship, the Viking Jupiter? The naming ceremony took place on January the 8th in Los Angeles, California. And well, of course, there was a dude on hand dressed like Neptune wielding a broadaxe. This broadaxe was used in the naming ceremony of the previous Viking ship, the Viking Jupiter. It was used to cut the ribbon that allowed the bottle of Norwegian aquavit, which is a potato-based liquor, a bottle of that to slam into the side of the cruise ship to christen it. I'm not sure how windy it was that day in Los Angeles, but I'm pretty sure in addition to the aquavit being used in the christening, I think that many of the people there used Aquanet to keep their hair in place. Aquanet. Anybody use aerosol hairspray? I used to spritz back in the 80s. But yeah, congratulations, Viking, on I like the name. I like these planetary name ships, the Jupiter and the Neptune. I like the fact that your christening involved the broadaxe, and I like the fact that you found somebody that was an astronaut and an aquanaut. All interesting new information for me. Thank you, Viking Ocean. How about that? Cruise news story number two, we have Wall Street weighing in once again on the cruise stocks. I think you guys know at this point how the stocks work. There's all kinds of analysts on Wall Street. These are people that look at all of the numbers for publicly traded companies, and they make determinations whether a stock is a good buy or a bad buy. They all have a different set of nomenclature, a different set of language. And of course, Morgan Stanley, one of the biggest players of the bunch there on Wall Street. On Tuesday, Morgan Stanley changed their rating from underweight to equal weight for Royal Caribbean. This puts it in a better position for investors, a better indicator for investors that Royal Caribbean would be a good buy. This Morgan Stanley announcement is just one in a series of positive indicators being laid on the Royal Caribbean stock. We've had other analysts from firms like Stifel Nicolaus and UBS shining some positive light on the Royal Caribbean stock, and the cruise lines certainly need these good projections from these financial analysts on Wall Street to continue to stay viable, to continue to be able to put their hands on money that they need to pay down debt. Like, it's always a better day when the cruise stocks are doing better, at least for cruise stock investors. Now we got to make our way to the dispensary to get the information on cruise news story number 3, where we have a Carnival cruise passenger upset and embarrassed over the way he was treated for his wacky tobacco, as they say. But before I do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. Yeah, we have a cannabis user. We have somebody that partakes. We have a toker and a smoker reaching out to brand ambassador John Heald, really just laying into John about Carnival's policy when it comes to weed. Of course, there is a zero tolerance policy on Carnival. It is not allowed on Carnival cruise ships, really not allowed on most major cruise lines. I don't know of one that it is allowed on. And if you are busted with marijuana, you will be fined and you will possibly be removed from the cruise ship. And this was the experience that the person that posted to John Heald had. He was busted on board. He was fined. He was told that he could possibly be removed from the cruise ship. And well, his big argument is, I am from a state where it is legal. I am an American. This is an American cruise line. Therefore, what is legal in my state should be legal on your cruise ship. Now, that line of argument really catches me by surprise, because I think most Americans understand the differentiation between local laws and state laws and federal laws. And at the federal law, marijuana still is illegal. It has been legalized on a state-by-state basis, but since it is federally illegal, it does mean that you can only partake in the state where it is legal, and well, it's not legal on the cruise ship. It really does open up an interesting conversation, because the cruise lines are not necessarily American companies. Certainly they have U.S. headquarters, but they're not incorporated in the United States. And so once you leave the shoreline of the United States and get into international waters, then really whatever rules that the cruise lines want to apply can be applied. Now, as John Heald pointed out, Carnival does defer to the federal laws when it comes to things like marijuana usage. They also defer to the federal law when it comes to the drinking age. That's why you have to be 21 years of age to drink on a Carnival cruise ship. That's a federal thing. That's why there is no weed usage on Carnival cruise ship. That's a federal thing. But interestingly, one place that they have made a distinction is that if you're 18 years old, you can gamble in the casino. And in most states in the United States, that age is 21. But there is no federal rule when it comes to gambling. So it's an interesting dance that the cruise lines are doing here, navigating between rules that are federally established and rules that they have some leeway on. But certainly right now, you cannot use weed on board. It's an interesting topic. It's one I've been thinking about quite a bit, one I wanted to throw to you guys. Where are you guys at on this whole thing? Where are you guys at on weed on board? Are you for it? Are you against it? Let's have the conversation in the comments below. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. I sure hope you enjoyed it. You could do me a favor by hitting the like button, and also check out this video that YouTube is recommending next. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.